Thank you for tuning into the Buyer's Guide podcast, where we talk all things property and finance. My name is Peter Mastriani, the founder of the Buyer's Guide, and in today's cast I speak with Jodie Cole, who is an experienced and enthusiastic learning and development professional. Jodie has extensive coaching, mentoring, and the motivational skills to empower others, enabling them to achieve their full potential. Jodie is also an internationally accredited professional master coach and is the creator of the Behavioural Budgeting model for financial freedom. Now, this model aims to assist people to understand your personality and your behavioural strengths, so you can deliberately seek out the tasks and the situations that ideally suit you. As well as a coach, Jodie has extensive experience in property investing, and as a single mother was able to accumulate 6 properties in 8 years by pursuing positive cash flow properties. I thought her story and her wisdom had to be shared, so I invited Jodie onto the show to share her vast knowledge and her enthusiastic approach to her anyone can do this property investment style. So, let's get to it. Jodie, hi. Thank you very much for joining us on the Buyer's Guide podcast. It's great to have you along. I'm very excited to have you as a guest because I've enjoyed our conversations around mindset and the work that you do from a coaching perspective. So for our listeners' benefit, why don't you just share a little bit about your story, your investment experience, and how you got into the coaching game?
Well, thank you for that, Peter, and thank you very much for having me on.
Oh, it's good.
Well, geez, where do I start? Well, the investments and the property investment side started probably, my whole life I've really been doing investment type things, even as a child, in relation to little strategies I've put in place about
lemonade
wanting
stand
to
out
buy.
the front, or
Yeah, honestly, you're talking about a lemonade. I was the lemonade.
yeah.
I picked flowers out of neighbours' gardens, put them into a bunch and resold them back to them. So,
okay.
So that's sort of the history of where I would start. So I always had this sort of a bit of I've always set goals.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been one of those people that have gone about saying, hey, what do I want in my life? And here's some goals. Let's go for them. So after achieving those, you tend to sort of hit higher and higher goals as you go. So what I've done, and I sort of got to that sort of 35-year-old age group, and I sort of then at that time wasn't feeling particularly happy where I was, so I decided to do what a lot of people do, which is sort of leave relationships and start again.
Okay.
So from there, basically I suppose I flipped my entire well-being, my lifestyle on its head. Mm-hmm. So I went to myself then, okay, now that I'm on my own, what can I do and what is it that I would really love to do? And the types of things that I couldn't do before, like renovating houses. So basically about 8 years ago, I set myself a goal. Look, I'd really love to get 6 houses. That was my goal. It went out there. I then went about making myself educate myself in relation to different strategies about how I could get to that goal on my own as a single parent. And so therefore, through that journey, or that sort of tough journey of living off a credit card and living off no money, you certainly start to understand where your own mindset is.
Mm-hmm.
So to understand that, and when I started to get into my journey, I felt that, and I found that other people were following me,
mm-hmm.
friends and family and work colleagues. So from there I went, wow, I've sort of hit onto something here. People are following what I'm doing, and I think of in my role as a trainer and teacher, pretty good at telling people or assisting people in how to get to that journey themselves. So, So basically, that's led me into my achieving my goal 2 years ago.
Congratulations! That's an excellent achievement, accumulating 6 properties in 8 years, and working and being a single mother and all the rest of it. That's amazing. Is it how much of that intention piece or focusing your attention on that end goal help push that through, do you think?
All of it.
Okay.
All of it. Because if you lose focus of what you want, then you can get bogged down in the day-to-day. Here are all the bills. Here are all the bills on the fridge. And you can sort of focus on the lack of what you don't have versus focus on the presence and being of what you could have. So it's a complete different mindset.
So is that why? Aspiring property investors may struggle to get past that one investment property? It's because their attention is focused on the immediate of the current bills that are in, that the property manager may not be taking care of the property as they should be, or what effects negative gearing changes are potentially going to have on them in the next couple of months? Or what are your opinions around that? Why do investors do the things that they do?
Well, I think investors do what they do based on the advice that they get.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the education that they have.
Do they seek advice though?
That's the thing, is that some do, and then some go to people who are very conservative, for example, in their views, but based out of their own beliefs, experiences, and educational backgrounds in relation to property versus finance, more conservative versus a higher level of risk. So I don't think people understand the levels of, before investing, even in property or anything, you have to determine what your sleep at night factor, as I call it, is.
Okay.
What are you happy to know that you owe with, there could be doomsday sayers, oh, geez, nobody could sleep at night with $1 million in debt. Mm. But then other people can go, yeah, bring it on, give me 2 mil, give me 3, give me 4. Hey, bring it, because with the bringing it, they're seeing change, they're seeing stretches, they're seeing their ability to reach for the stars, and when you do that, the people you attract to be around you to then give you the pertinent advice that you need to keep up that mindset, they appear. Mm. And, yeah.
So what are the aspects that influences those decisions on, is it just what's in your immediate environment, do you think, that has a big focus, or is it again what you're actually looking for and aspiring to achieve? What influenced your decisions, I guess, to help you get to where you now are, Jodie?
Well, what influenced my decisions was, look, if I can do it, anybody can. Yeah. Which I know you've heard that a million times. Sure. Everyone tends to say that, well, I've come from this and then I can do this. It sort of gets a little passé, but at the same time, it's actually very true, because I'm thinking that, realistically, people do find themselves in the situation I found myself in. And they look to their closest colleagues, friends and peers to know, well, where do I go to from here? And so what I did is I looked further. Mm-hmm. I looked further to the people that did have the, multiple investment properties as a means of financial freedom for me, as my roadway, as a sense of financial investment. Mm-hmm. And I sought out the people in Australia, specifically in the industry, who I then bought their books. Okay. I then attended their seminars. I then, attended their webinars. I did everything possible to be able to just basically soak up the hints and tips from numerous people who've been before me. And a lot of that's quite cost effective. Mm-hmm. Certainly from somebody, you could go to the library, you can hop onto Google, you can do a whole heap of things. There's a lot of stuff that's offered for free. So from the perspective of where I've got myself to, I've refused to listen to the naysayers and the people around who what do you want 6 houses for? Yeah. Possibly. Yeah. Who do you think you are? That's not going to happen. Blah, blah, blah. A lot of fears were outed by a lot of people, I think.
Is that, are those fears based on, people believing that they're not going to fit into the accepted norms of the individuals that they're hanging around with, or is it just their past patterns of behaviour that are limiting what they hope to do in the future?
That all, I think, you could crumple it all into a ball and call it the people's fear of uncertainty. So okay. we all have fears, all of us are fearful about, oh geez, what if we couldn't? What if this happens? Whereas we're actually all aiming for certainty. So the one thing we do want is for someone to tell us, hey, cool, if you could do this and this could make this much amount of money, then you might not actually be able to have to work leading into the future, or you could retire early if this and this all happens. So I think the people really need to be mindful of looking at themselves versus comparing themselves to others which is where the personality and the coaching side of profiling comes in to understand who intrinsically you are versus who you'd like to be.
I heard a funny thing once. It may have even been a meme or something along those lines, and it was when you're in your teens, you think that everyone's thinking about you. In your 20s, you don't give a stuff about what anyone thinks about you. Then when you're in your 30s and your 40s, then you actually realize that no one's actually been thinking about you at all.
Exactly.
But it's funny that because those aspects can really limit what your ultimate intentions are. So how do you work? How would you go about working through that change process of, of working towards those goals that you've actually set your intention on?
Well, basically the way I do it, and which is why I got into the coaching journey to assist my property investment journey to assist others, is then to reflect not just on what I've done, but what is quite out there in relation to psychological studies on how people do what they do and why they do what they do. Mm-hmm. So as a result of that, we can, I generally coach clients through where they tend to fit within the 4-quadrant model, and within that, where are their fears? What are their certainties? What are their uncertainties? What are things they really would want? And then what are things they would really like to put in place or can physically put in place to be able to begin that? So we sort of start unpacking the mindset side of how do you deal with things. Everyone can have a great goal. And it's, fantastic. I want to fly to the moon. But unless you actually, study and train and go to NASA and undertake their course, getting to the moon from where you are is pretty uncertain. Do you know what I mean? It's something look, thanks for your goal, but it may not come true. Mm-hmm. Whereas what I tend to think, people set themselves these fantastic goals, but they don't necessarily look at the strategy about how they're going to go about that. Mm-hmm. And reverse engineer, okay, here's the end in mind, and let's back step, and then let's look at the little steps that you can do daily to be able to achieve. Because, of course, we all like to achieve our goals daily. Mm-hmm. So that's where the coaching comes in, to really look at where the people currently are at and just focus on chipping away at the little things that we can control and we can influence, and therefore each day we're slowly but surely moving towards, and then all of a sudden, those old fears that were necessarily holding you back about, how am I, who do I think I am if I want to have these properties? Do I have to keep up with the Joneses? Is that my aim? Is that what it's about? Or is it just about me satisfying the need to show and mentor my children that from one woman's perspective, this is a teaching and learning environment that could stand my children in good stead moving forward for them? Yeah,
absolutely. I think there's 4 fundamental F's, being family, finance, fitness, and faith as well. And I say faith not only from a religious context, because that's very important to some, but also from a spiritual point of view as well. So what do you see are the main drivers around those for people, wanting to get ahead? Is it on the basis of the lifestyle perspective, perhaps, and having the finances to provide for pina coladas on a beach someday, or is it really about helping your family and providing a means of getting ahead to ensure they have everything that you've had and more?
It's a sort of a little bit of both, actually, because I think if a lot of people were to actually reflect on where they currently are now, and if they were to look around their house, or whether it's a rented house, whether it's a caravan, whether you're living with your in-laws, whether you're doing whatever, then realistically you're going to have to sort of have a look at why you're there, are you happy where you currently are, and what is it, and why is it what you're doing in relation to your finances, and or trying to, either budget better or to try to work out doing different jobs to move forward. What is it that you're trying to aim for? And when we say, the word financial freedom itself isn't necessarily an experience. It is what that finance can get you to be free, that gives you the experience of, you've said it, the example, sit on the beach with a pina colada.
Mm-hmm.
But that could get boring after a while.
Yeah.
So, and it's about we're all seeking happiness.
Mm-hmm.
We're seeking the ability to spend more time with our family.
Mm-hmm.
We're seeking more time to be able to educate them as to how they can seek more time to do things that they love to do, which is the aim of the majority of people in life, which is why we work. We work to earn money, and the money gives us this freedom to do something we enjoy, and it gives us the experience.
I agree with that, but I also firmly believe that you get caught in a pattern of behaviour, and it's funny of what you've said in terms of focusing your attention on that end result and setting an agenda behind what it is that you actually love doing. So when you work out what you love doing, then it's easier to scrape to the top of the mountain to meet your dragon, as a metaphor, to either slay or to tame the dragon, to overcome and achieve your goals. It's definitely a journey. And I think I personally believe people don't persist with the journey because the journey's bloody hard sometimes.
It can be, but, you've got to remember too that if you are, climbing the mountain to slay the dragon, that you've got to remember to stop, turn around, smell the coffee, relax where you're at, contemplate, you're halfway up. Oh my God, I can't believe I've got this far.
Yeah.
Look around and actually be thankful and actually give gratitude for what you have. And if you think you've climbed halfway up the mountain, you look back and you think, well, I've already done something that the majority of people down there couldn't or didn't want to do. So I'm already living in my ideal world, possibly somebody's ideal day.
Yes.
Halfway up this mountain, on my way to this. So I think what people tend to lose sight of is reflecting on where they're at right now and going, geez, I'm pretty thankful for what I have. I have a roof over my head. I can feed my children. I can pay my bills. And just because I don't have the newest and this, and this, and this, that doesn't mean that I'm actually not really enjoying. I'm enjoying today. I can go out and buy a coffee. I can,
have a
that's
lie,
the type of thing.
whatever.
Yeah, and it's just the little things. I think that people tend to maybe not enjoy a longer journey, that if they do tend to stop, rest, look around on the mountain, enjoy, it gives you a bit of a shot in the arm to keep pushing forward.
To think, I am doing pretty well here. Yeah, and maybe give you that energy to keep on going a little bit further.
And sometimes it just takes yourself to catch yourself in that moment and go, wow, this is my life. This is cool. Wow, I can't believe I've got here. And to always bring it. There's always going to be people in front of you. There's always going to be people behind you. So it isn't about the race. You know what I mean? It's about the enjoyment of the journey.
Do you think that's the aha moment, or?
Yeah, I think with a lot of clients that I find they get tied up in the day-to-day, work, eat, sleep, work, eat, sleep, work, eat, sleep. And then when you actually start to, speak to them, you can hear it in the tone of their voice, you can sort of see it in their body language. And then when you ask them, what really lights you up? What's really something that you really changes?
Yes.
So you sort of think, well, if you can reflect that and flip that on its head in their day-to-day lives, well, for what purpose are they staying there? And what are the family or what are the reasons you're doing this to you? So then all of a sudden you're not going to wake up in the retirement home and you're looking back and you're going, geez, I've got regrets.
Yes.
More than a few, and that's sort of my big aim, is to not to have that regret, and hence that sort of comes forward in the goal setting and the mindset and the breaking of some of those. I can't, there's no such thing, in my mind. Once we break those with clients, you really do start to see those aha moments. That's for certain.
So what's the process of your coaching program, and perhaps, Jodie, how can people learn more about what you actually do?
Well, obviously through my journey and the studying of the human behaviour and how people do what they do and the underlying themes, I've sort of come up with a bit of a model, and it's a 4-quadrant model about... Yeah,
you had referred to that earlier. Yeah. What is the 4-quadrant model?
Well, I've called it the Behavioural Budgeting Model for Financial Freedom.
Okay.
Now, within that, there are 4 basic avatars as to the 4 corners of this square that the general public fit into. And they fit into the A+ achiever, the partier, the supporter, and the thinker.
Okay.
So if we think, and they sort of link in with a lot of things to do with personality profiling, a lot to do with behavioural profiling, and a lot to do with people's mindsets based on how they do things at work. Are they the direct people? Are they extrovert? Are they introvert? Are they want to be in? They want the newest of everything, or they're just happy to sit back? Are they one-time convincer? Are they a three-time convincer when it comes to a buying strategy?
Okay.
That sort of thing. So, yeah, and as a result of, coming up with the model, then that's an easy way, I think, to be able to integrate the client into where you currently fit and a bit of a reflection exercise.
Okay.
So then it assists moving forward. So it's a pretty good tool.
Yep, that's good. So if I wanted to speak to you about this tool and learn a bit more about my own mindset, I guess, of mindset as an investor or perhaps why I do the things that I do, how should I find out more about you, Jodie?
Well, you can find out, we have a website that is jodiecolecoaching.com.au.
Okay.
And under that there is the behavioural budgeting model. We're on Facebook. We have a business page, Jodie Cole Coaching, which has the behavioural budgeting for financial freedom page. We have groups. I'm on pretty much all of the social media, Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram.
You name it.
And the good thing, they're different demographics, but it's good to, get a feel into the market social media wise, especially something so dry at times as property investment.
Yeah.
We can easily be contactable on, certainly through the website, the email, and I'm sure you'll post some links anyway, so.
We certainly will. Jodie, thank you very much for sharing your thoughts and your experience. It's an amazing story that you've got there, and it's great to be able to help you share that, and thank you for offering our listeners here that 30-minute health check around their mindset. So be sure to visit jodiecole.com.au, and I'll look forward to hopefully having another conversation with you on the podcast again soon, Jodie.
Thank you so much.
No problem. All the best. Thanks a lot, Jodie. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. That concludes another episode of the Buyer's Guide podcast. Now, I did make an error, which was Jodie's website. And look, I really highly encourage you to check it out and see if you can book a 30-minute mindset health check. To do so, you need to visit www.jodiecolecoaching.com.au or www.behavioralbudgeting.com.au. And be sure to subscribe not to miss out on any future episodes of the Buyer's Guide podcast. And I would like to say and give a big shout out to everyone who personally share their positive feedback with me. You're all so kind. But until next time, bye-bye.